Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Hot Topics with Don Lemon on this Tuesday, debate day. Are you ready? Do you think Donald Trump is ready? Do you think Kamala Harris is ready? I'm sure they're prepping right now. But as we are getting ready to watch the debate, the candidates are prepping for the debates, but the media and Republicans, spinmeisters and Republicans, and even the vice president, they're talking about wild conspiracy theories. Have you heard this cat conspiracy theory? I don't have to tell you that over the years, the GOP has really smeared immigrant communities, right, in a million ways. This one is quite differently. They were accused of poisoning the blood of the nation. Tucker Carlson said that they make the country, quote, poorer and dirtier. And remember, Donald Trump said they're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists. They have largely adopted this racist great conspiracy theory as well, made up of this mythical migrant crime wave as a central election theme. But this most recent anti-migrant attack is just really bizarre. And it talks about immigrant communities killing and eating beloved family pets. They're claiming that there are bands of Haitians that are eating Scooby-Doo and Garfield. I know that sounds bizarre, okay? But I want to explain. On Monday, there was a social media, these posts that said that these prominent conservative lawmakers and commentators claiming that Haitian migrants in the town of Springfield, Ohio, that they were eating cats and that this woman apparently, allegedly, had been arrested for eating a cat. But that's not exactly what the evidence and the record show. I want to play now my friends over at Morning Joe talking about this bizarre conspiracy theory and debunking this conspiracy. It is bizarre. On debate night, on debate day, I should say, and before, instead of talking policy, they're talking cat-eating conspiracy theory by immigrants, Haitian immigrants. Watch.
To Joe's point earlier, this is the kind of stuff that not that long ago would sort of pop up in these dark, strange corners of the internet and be snuffed out, and just so the mouth breathers could talk about it among themselves. But now you've got Elon Musk, and it's risen to the top of the presidential ticket. And J.D. Vance amplifying something clearly made up. The Washington Post has a long piece debunking this, too. The photograph that they're using isn't even from Springfield. The person is not Haitian, on and on.
Oh. Well, and I think the danger of this is to allow us to continue to mainstream stuff that used to just be looked at as some craziness on the outside of any serious consideration of what's going on. And don't miss the racial angle here. Haitian immigrants.
Illegal.
And J.D. Vance particularly zeroing on Haitian immigrants. And I think that this goes to, you know, blacks are cannibals and we eat each other. I mean, it plays into all of that history of racism, which is part of what Donald Trump has appealed to since Charlottesville, since birtherism. When you hear Kamala Harris saying that's the old playbook, that's part of the old playbook of race. They, not just immigrants, it's Haitian immigrants eating your pets, eating your animals, because you know they're cannibals, and we can't miss that.
Okay, so to be clear, this is baseless. And I just want to read something. This is from the Springfield Police Division. They told the Springfield News on Monday, that they have received 0 reports of pets being stolen and eaten. So Republicans completely made this up. Now, there is a report from another town and another city of something like this happening, but the person who's accused of doing it is not a Haitian immigrant. So again, this is completely made up. By yesterday, this baseless claim was spreading like wildfire across social media. Republican Senator, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, who is the nominee on the Republican side for vice president, also went on Twitter, and we can put that up, writing this: months ago, I raised the issue of Haitian illegal immigrants draining social services and generally causing chaos all over Springfield, Ohio. Reports now show that people had their pets abducted and eaten by people who shouldn't be in this country. Where is our border czar? He is spreading this bullshit, and he is the vice presidential nominee on the Republican side. This is sort of akin, not sort of akin, it's akin to the demonization of immigrants. Remember this report apparently about Venezuelan, this gang taking over an apartment complex, and then this is in Aurora, Colorado. The police department there saying it is not true, that this is overhyped. There was one incident where this happened. It was an isolated incident. But instead, on conservative media and with the Republicans, including Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, they are spreading all of these lies, okay? Now, listen, I do want to say that, Ohio, the pandemic was hard on Springfield, Ohio, right? And there were lots of immigrants. By the way, these aren't undocumented immigrants, but it was hard. There was a swell of undocumented immigrants. There were issues with workers there in a warehouse. But these are, again, not undocumented immigrants. Overwhelmingly, they have legal immigration status. They have work authorizations. They have Social Security numbers. Nonetheless, on Friday, this prominent right-wing, this all started when this prominent right-wing Twitter account called In Wokeness posted a screenshot of a post on a private Facebook page, and then it all took off. And what it said was, warning to all about our beloved pets and those around us. My neighbor informed me that her daughter's friend had lost her cat, the user wrote. One day she came home from work, and as soon as she stepped out of her car, looked towards a neighbor's house where Haitians live, and saw her cat hanging from a branch like you do a deer for butchering, and on and on and on it went. This is all made up. And that is what they're talking about right now. That is what they are hoping will come up during the debate. That is what they're hoping Americans will believe. And J.D. Vance helping to spread all of these lies. Okay? We're going to pay attention to that. So, by the way, Senator Ted Cruz posted an image of two kittens with a superimposed caption reading, "Please vote for Trump so Haitian immigrants don't eat us." Desperate and racist. That's all I have to say. Now let's talk about the debate preview, because Vice President Harris is going to face off with Donald Trump. This is the first time that they are going to meet, by the way. Remember, this first time that they're going to meet because he wouldn't do a peaceful transition of power. He did not want to turn over the levers of government and the executive branch to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, so he never did it. That was in 2020. So they have never met. The event is going to be tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be 90 minutes from the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia. ABC News anchors David Muir and Lindsay Davis will be the moderators, which will be broadcast again and streamed on ABC News Live, Disney Plus, and Hulu. It's going to be the same rules as the debate in June with Joe Biden. The microphones will be off. If whoever's not speaking, their microphone will be muted. Whoever's speaking, obviously the microphone will be open. There will be no audience. And apparently, I don't believe that there's going to be any fact-checking, which could be a concern. I think it is a concern because I think that there should be fact-checking, right? I think that there should be fact-checking by the moderators, but apparently they don't want that. I'm pretty sure that the Republicans don't want that. So, again, what does Kamala Harris need to do in order to get the American people to know her, to understand her policies, what she is proposing? Because if you look at the latest polling, it shows that many Americans are not familiar with Kamala Harris. They're not familiar with what she stands for or what her policies are. And so there's some concern among Democrats and among the Harris campaign that may be problematic for them. What does she need to do to introduce herself to Americans? What does she need to do to win the debate? Here are my friends again over at Morning Joe.
Tonight, 9 o'clock, 90 minutes. This is an important moment for both of these candidates, it goes without saying, but particularly for Vice President Harris, who's done one joint interview since all the hoopla and the energy we all saw at the DNC in Chicago. This will be the first time she ever meets Donald Trump. Obviously, first time they're on a stage together. What will you be looking for?
Well, she's got a hard job, and I'm a little nervous that the expectations for her are so high and the expectations for him are so low. Typically, these things don't come out really lopsided, although the last one kind of did. Yeah. And so I think all of us are nervous because of that, maybe. Listen, she's got to do really three important things. She's got to be strong. She's got to show real strength so we can vanquish this idea that she's not tough enough to stand up to Trump's boyfriends, Putin and Xi and all the ones that he's so in love with. Second, she's got to be nice and give people a sense of lightness and joy and hope and optimism and feeling really good about the United States of America. The third thing she's got to do, and this is the hardest, is she's got to be the new kid on the block. She's got to figure out a way. And by the way, she's got an advantage here, Willie, because people understand fundamentally that vice presidents don't make policy. The reason America doesn't know her is because she was a vice president. It's a diminishing role. No, everybody understands you're not in charge. You are a supporting character when you're a vice president. She's got to be the leading character tonight, and she's got to not distance herself from a man that we all respect and know has done an amazing job. But she's got to establish herself as the new kid on the block, that she is the change that all of these disengaged voters, these swing voters that will decide this election, that they then see her as the change they're looking for.
Okay, Claire McCaskill over on Morning Joe, and she's absolutely right what she has to do. But I also think that Kamala Harris, Donald Trump is a bully, so he's going to try to bully her. He's going to try to intimidate her. He's going to try to steamroll her. What she needs to do, because she's going to be talking about policies. We all know Donald Trump is going to lie. Everyone knows that. Almost every word that comes out of his mouth is a lie. That's not hyperbole. That's just facts. So what she needs to do is, I think she needs to introduce herself, obviously, and tell people what she's going to do. But she cannot spend the entire time debunking Donald Trump's lies, because then people don't get to know her. What she needs to do is punch a bully right in the nose straight off the bat. I cannot believe that I'm actually subjected to having to be on the same stage with a convicted felon. I don't understand why you're still in the race, considering how you lie, that you have been found guilty of crimes, that you have been found liable for sexually assaulting a woman, which the judge says is rape, how you have co-opted people into voting for you and believing your lies, that you co-opt hardworking people who live paycheck to paycheck, and you get them to send you their hard-earned money to pay your legal bills. That is not only untoward, it's un-American. But since I have to stand here with you, as a former prosecutor who have stood up and alongside police officers in this country and on the side of justice, I know exactly how to handle people like you and what to do with people like you. She's got to hit it out of the park, because otherwise, a performance that is, oh, she did okay, like the interview, she didn't really hurt herself, she didn't really help herself, it was kind of a wash. That's going to be a loss, quite honestly, for Kamala Harris. She's got to hit it out of the park. And I know that's unfair, because the rules are different for them. He can get away, he can say, he can do anything. And he's just impervious to criticism and all of it. She is judged from her hair, what her hairstyle looks like, the makeup, what she's wearing, all of that, all the way down to her shoes. Even everything that comes out of her mouth. Donald Trump can say anything. So I understand that the rules are different. And I agree with Claire McCaskill. She cannot come off as angry, especially being an angry black woman. So she's going to have to do all of this and do what Ginger Rogers did with Fred Astaire. She's going to have to do it better, do it backwards, and it heals. That's a high bar, but she's got to do it. And I believe that she can do it. She shouldn't be overly prepared, and she should learn a lesson, quite frankly, from Hillary Clinton and not be too careful and too buttoned up. She has to be real and herself, and she's got to punch him right in the nose. In the meantime, the folks over at Fox News are saying, hey, Donald Trump, you know, the record shows he doesn't need to do anything but stand there because what Kamala Harris is proposing is a dream. Unless there's a policy that the Biden administration proposed and that they believe is not working, then they want to pin it on Kamala Harris and the vice president, right? But they're saying he doesn't really need to do anything. He just needs to stand there because his record speaks for itself. Really? Watch.
We don't see her as a change candidate.
You know, I see so much irony in what you're saying. So Donald Trump now is the candidate for change, and the change is what he had that was working. The change is what people have already seen. And that's ironic because usually people want you to imagine what it would be like if it were them, and that's what she's trying to do. You don't really have to imagine with him. You can hate the posts and the tweets and blah, 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 but you got to love those gas prices. You got to love those food prices. You got to love a guy who's got a plan for tackling inflation that actually is about tackling inflation.
And to that point, 51% in that same poll did see Trump as major change candidate.
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating. Change to what worked. Real quickly, you had that scroll on before, and I caught.
Okay, so let's Harris. I was going to say stop drinking the Kool-Aid, but I remember that whole thing with the Kool-Aid and you, and that was problematic, and I agreed with it. This guy asked the co-host there, do you give your kids Kool-Aid when you're giving a recipe? I mean, really? Okay. But Harris, let's talk about gas prices. I'm just going to pull up some headlines here. Why low gas prices shouldn't be a bragging point in presidential elections. Why do they say it? Because gas prices, the cost of gasoline at the pump has dropped by more than 15% from a year ago at the end of summer driving. Florida gas prices fall after oil price tank. Trump is all hot air as gas prices fall. Michigan gas prices dropped the lowest point since February. Gas prices continue to drop in Virginia. Why? AAA reports Michigan gas prices dropped to lowest since February. America is pumping so much oil that gas could be below $3 by Thanksgiving. Yes, you got to love those gas prices because they're actually low under the Biden administration. You know why those gas prices were up? Because of a Donald Trump presidency, of a Donald Trump administration. Now let's talk about grocery prices. She wants to talk about groceries? There were no groceries on the shelves. Remember pandemic? Biden administration. Remember the economy that the Trump administration handed to the Biden administration? So you want to talk about those? You really want Donald Trump to talk about his record, his economic record at this debate? I mean, he can lie about it, he will. They can fudge it and embellish it as you are over on Fox News and on other channels, conservative channels, but it's all bullshit because the numbers speak for themselves. Because Donald Trump has really no record to go on, right? Only the conspiracy theories that they're talking about with eating cats and the bogus numbers. And look at the job numbers as well. Also, lowest unemployment ever. Lowest unemployment for African Americans ever under the Biden administration. So what is conservative media doing ahead of the debate? When you don't have facts, what do? You pound the table, or you insult or you try to discredit the authority or your opponent. In this case, they believe that the ABC moderators are their opponents. And so Sean Hannity is trying to discredit the moderators even before the debate. I believe that there should be fact-checking. They're obviously concerned about that, and so is Sean Hannity. Watch.
Bob Iger and his left-wing heir apparent, maybe they don't want half the country to attend their theme parks. Maybe they don't care about their tanking stock price, which is their prerogative. They're free to make that choice. But if they are biased against Donald Trump, as they have been leading into tomorrow night, as their nightly newscast is, half the country is not going to like it one bit. They're not going to like ABC Disney one bit either. But it's...
So you know what he's talking about, right? He's talking about ABC. They want people to visit their theme parks. He's actually kind of threatening ABC there by saying, you better be careful because I'm going to get people riled up. This is going to get people riled up. Donald Trump will be able to affect your business because then MAGA folks, conservative folks won't go to Disney, right? ABC is owned by Disney. And when he's talking about stock prices, he's talking about Disney stock prices as well. And I think that was also probably a hit on the owners of CNN or whatever. Their stock prices are down. WBD, Warner Brothers. So, and all of the major networks are owned by big media companies, right? So, or big entertainment companies like CBS, Paramount. So maybe he's warning everyone, all of the media companies. Why? Because the facts aren't on their side. Now, here's something that I find very interesting. Someone asked what I thought was going to happen with the debate, right? And I said, and you can look on social media, I said, I think it's going to be a political Rorschach test. Where if you already support Donald Trump, you're going to say that he won and he knocked it out of the park. If you already support Kamala Harris, you're going to say she won and she knocked it out of the park. I found myself strangely agreeing with Dave Portnoy. He talks about several things in this clip that I'm about to show you. But basically, I sort of agree with him about the results, the outcome of the debate. Here it is.
But she's never really gotten in that forum, so I'd be surprised if she did it. But that's up to her. It's a personal decision.
Okay, what about, we'll stay on politics. Tomorrow, the debate between Trump and Harris. Are you going to be watching? And what do you want to hear from both candidates?
Yeah, of course I'm going to be watching. I'm curious to see how it goes. We really haven't heard anything from Harris, so I'm just curious to see how she speaks, how she responds. But the truth of the matter is I don't think this debate is going to change how really anybody votes. The problem with this country, everybody's already made up their mind. They're so entrenched. This election, I think it's just going to come down to who can get their people to get out more. But nobody, I don't think, is flip-flopping based on what's going to happen. Right. I think it'll be a soundbite fest.
But it comes down to who looks presidential, who looks like they can handle the Oval Office, either again for Trump or first time for Harris. That is perception, it's demeanor that's really important, isn't it?
Yeah, it's super important. But again, I'd go back to, I don't know that it matters. Like the people who are going to vote Democratic and going to vote Democratic no matter what, they could probably wheeled out Joe Biden and had, lettuce coming out of his head. They'd still vote. We're so entrenched in who we want already. It's really hard to change minds.
True. I got you down as a Trump guy, Dave. Are you? Are you prepared to say out? You are? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm voting for Trump. I don't know that I'd call myself a Trump guy. Like if I thought there was a candidate that was better, I would be open to having that. Like I didn't vote for him I wouldn't have voted for him in the Republican primaries, but I'm voting for him now.
Okay. You got a big prediction. You think Caitlin Clark and the Indiana.
Okay. So he went through several things, right? He said he didn't believe that Taylor Swift was going to get involved because she didn't get involved in things like this. A lot of people are looking for her to do that. But as it relates to the debate, I have to agree with you. I agree with him. I think he's Barstool Sports, this Dave Portnoy. And so I think he's right on. I think it's going to be a political Rorschach test and it's going to be a soundbite fest. But I also believe that Kamala Harris has to punch him in the nose. I don't mean that, literally punch him in the nose. It's a figure of speech in order to come out on top. And maybe we'll see. I don't know if it's going to make a difference in the polls at all because I believe people have mostly made up their minds. Now, all of these people who are saying they're undecided, I don't know what planet they're living on, but apparently there are those who say that. I think maybe they're just thirsty and they want attention. But it would be odd to me that at this point, with 50-some days, just under 60 days to the election, and you haven't made up your mind? Come on. Okay, I want to update a story that we brought to you yesterday, and that is with wide receiver of the Miami Dolphins, Tyreek Hill. So there's an update. So yesterday, I told you this story that he was on his way to the game on Sunday, and he was pulled over for speeding, and he had this altercation with police. He ended up on the ground in handcuffs, face down, and there was some yelling and altercation. Other players for the Miami Dolphins actually tried to come to his aid. And he spoke about it after the game on Sunday. He ended up scoring a touchdown, an 80-yard touchdown, which was amazing, and then sort of reenacting his arrest or detention after he scored that touchdown. But the body cam video is now out from police. Now, what they're saying is that he did not comply, and that they told him to roll his window down because his windows were tinted and to step out of the car, and he didn't do it. But this is a body cam video. You can judge for yourself. Watch.
Why don't you have your seatbelt on? Why don't you have your seatbelt on? Like what? Why do you have it up? What you gotta do? Keep it down. Hey! Keep your window down. Fanny. Hey, keep your window down. Keep your window down. I'm gonna get you out of the car. As a matter of fact, get out of the car. Give me your ass, bro. Get out of the car. Give me your ass, bro. Break that freaking window. Get out of the car. Get out of the car right now. We're not playing. When we tell you to do something, you do it. You understand?
I'm getting out.
You understand? Not what you want, but what we tell you. You're a little fucking confused.
I'm getting out, bro.
Too late.
Chill,
Too
bro.
late.
All right, bro. Take me to jail, bro. Do what you gotta do, bro.
We are. We will.
Good, bro.
It is good.
Hey.
Don't worry about it. I hung up the phone. You stop crying.
Bro, y'all.
Don't move.
Good. Bro, you beating on my window like you crazy.
You set him up?
Why y'all beating on my window like y'all crazy for? Damn, bro, dude beating on my window like he crazy. I ain't do nothing, twin. Damn.
Hey, don't park there. Don't park there.
Hey. Call Drew. Hey, call Drew, bro. Hey, call Drew, bro. Hey, what? Hey, call Drew, bro. Just call Drew. Hey.
Okay, we can stop it there. You can keep rolling it. You can keep rolling it if you want to, and just turn the sound down so I can talk. But I think people should see because it's a long video.
What am I doing that's
So,
hey, listen.
let me just say this. There were several of his teammates who came by, including Jonnu Smith, Calais Campbell. He was on the phone. You could hear he was on the phone with a teammate. And also, I think they said Odell Beckham or something. I'm not sure about that. Also came by to try to help. There were several people who came by to try to help him. And here's what I think. So he rolled the window down and gave him his identification immediately, and then he said, do what you got to do, and he put his window up, right? So if they want to write him a ticket, then write him a ticket. And then they said, put your window down, and he cracks it, whatever. So there you can see the officers now, arguing with his teammates. I think they said they were friends. I don't think they identified themselves as teammates. But anyway, that officer's on a power trip. I'm sorry. As an officer, you're supposed to de-escalate the situation. Those officers were on a power trip. They did not have to handle him that way. They did not have to speak to him that way. I'm sorry. I don't care what you say. He should have complied. People are saying he did not comply. He said he opened the window immediately. He handed him his ID, and he said, do what you got to do. You know what they have to do? They have to go back to the thing or whatever, check to see if his driver's license is valid, look at the license plate, and write him a ticket. That's what they have to do. I put your window down. If the window's cracked, I want it all the way down. Look, I don't know about all that mess. It seems excessive to me. They did not have to pull the man out of his car like that and throw him on the ground and speak to him that way. They could have written him a ticket. They could have de-escalated the situation. That's what they are trained for. Anytime someone stops you for any kind of traffic violation, you're not going to be happy about it. Now, I always tell people to comply. Perhaps, okay, fine, put your hands on the wheel, like my mom taught me and my dad, and do what the officers tell you to do. Okay, yes, you should do that. But in my estimation, if I'm watching that and I'm a trained police officer and he said, do what you've got to do, what have you, I would do, okay, fine. Go back, here's your ticket. If there's nothing wrong with his driver's license, if there are no arrest warrants, just because someone isn't nice to you as a police officer, it does not mean that you can treat them that way. No one's going to be happy for a traffic violation. I think it's excessive. Now, there's also some other video. There's a different perspective of the video, a shot from, I believe it's from TMZ, that we have, that you could see that was immediately taken after the altercation. Really after, I think they put him on the ground. Do we have that video?
Power, man. Why is Tyreek Hill?
So
what?
He's sitting there, handcuffed.
Bro, what the hell is going on?
As if he's going to run away or drive away, and he's not. None of that. He said, "Do what you got to do. Write me the ticket. Here's my identification." Come on, y'all. Because someone would go, "Yes, officer. Okay, all right, fine, whatever." Yeah, okay, fine. Maybe he should have rolled his window down further. That's all he did. You didn't roll his window down far enough. He cracked it, and you were mad. So after the game yesterday, Tyreek Hill said, "Look, he thought that it went from 0, he said, to 60 in a minute, like 0 to 100, like or whatever, 0 to 60 immediately." He said that added that he called his team security officer from the car. That's what he was saying. Call. And he said, continue on. He says that officer was really on a power trip, is what he said. And he said he felt like he just needed to do something that day, But like I said, I'm glad nobody was hurt. I think he's right. He also spoke out last night on CNN. Here he is.
Well, you said if you weren't Tyreek Hill, that you feared this could have ended a lot differently. What do you think could have happened?
Yeah, so the crazy part about it is I hate talking like this, man, but because I have a kid fan base. But the reality of it is, it's the truth. If I wasn't Tyreek Hill, worst case scenario, we would have had a different article, Tyreek Hill, got shot in front of Hard Rock Stadium, or that's worst case scenario, or Tyreek Hill, put in handcuffs and taken in and booked, but it's crazy that, me and my family had to go through this,
So I watched this video of Tyreek Hill last night with a bunch of people, a bunch of different perspectives. Everyone from conservative to liberal to white, black, Latino. Was at dinner, I had the book launch last night. They all thought these officers were doing too much. That it is an officer's job to de-escalate, not to be on a power trip. Perhaps there were things that Tyreek Hill could have done better, but he's not a trained officer. So I think there's a lesson in it for, I hate to say, this is a learning moment, a teachable moment. There is a learning experience here, I believe, and I hope we learn our lesson from this about how to make policing better, to see what officers actually go through, and just how embarrassing that was for someone, and how that could have escalated. And I think Tyreek Hill is right. That could have escalated into a situation that I don't even want to fathom, that we could be talking about differently today. Okay, so now you're caught up. And I'm so glad that you guys joined us this morning for our Hot Topic show. We're going to see you tonight at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock? We're going to do 5 o'clock and we're going to do late. We'll see. 5 o'clock. Hopefully we'll do a 5 o'clock show. We'll see, because we also have our late show. Make sure you join us. You can watch the debate right here, the entire debate on this channel, on the Don Lemon channel. And then we're going to have post-debate coverage with a panel of experts to talk about exactly what happened during the debate. Who won? Who lied? Did they get their issues across? Is it going to affect the polling in the election? What's real about the polling? Is the Kamala Harris enthusiasm really over, as the New York Times says? And today it's out. My book is out. I actually listened to my entire book overnight in my own voice. It was a little painful for me overnight. But anyway, you can get it on audio and you can purchase it at your local bookstore and you can order it online, but it is out. I love the audio version. The hardcover is good as well. And there are notes from my pals in the back. There's a note from Kara Swisher, the Kara Swisher over at the Pivot Podcast. There's a note from the Sonny Hostin on the back from The View. Clive Davis, right, the great record producer. Anna Navarro, political strategist, and also from co-host of The View. And then Lee Daniels, filmmaker. His new movie, The Deliverance, is out. Remember, I Can Smell Your Nappy, whatever, with Glenn Close and Monique. So anyway, thank you. Make sure you buy it, and we'll discuss it after the debate when there's not so much politics and things aren't so pressing when it comes to the political world. So thank you for watching, everyone. I'll see you a little bit later at 5 o'clock, but be sure to tune in for the entire debate. We're going to run it on this channel. You don't need to go anywhere else. You can stream it right here, and then for our post-debate coverage, okay? See you later at 5 o'clock. Thanks for watching.